I was in the doctor's waiting room when my phone rang. It was my only daughter, Angela. Her voice sounded off, cool, almost distant. "Mom, we're flying to Europe tomorrow. I already sold your beach house and your car. We needed the money. Bye." Then she hung up. Just like that. 45 years of raising her, sacrificing for her, and she tossed me aside as if I were nothing. I inhaled slowly and let a small smile form, because there was one thing my dear daughter didn't know. My name is Antonia Brooks. I'm 71. Until that moment, I believed I knew my child. 6 months earlier, I'd become a widow. My husband, Robert, died of a heart attack at breakfast, just as we had eaten every morning for 45 years. That morning, he'd poured my coffee with cream, set out toast, kissed my forehead, and whispered, "Good morning, my love." Those were his last words. Since then, Angela had been more present, or so I thought. She visited 3 times a week, helped with the funeral arrangements, took me to the grocery store, even suggested a doctor's checkup. "Mom, you have to take better care of yourself now that you're alone," she'd say with a smile I mistook for love. Now I saw it was convenience. The beach house had been our sanctuary. Robert and I bought it when Angela was 15, with hard work and long sacrifice. Summers, birthdays, even Christmas, memory after memory lived in those walls. Angela brought boyfriends, then her husband, Edward. I cooked, cleaned, did the laundry, our family tradition. I never imagined she'd reduce it to cash. And the car, Robert's old Ford pickup, he treated like a son. Every Sunday he washed it, changed the oil like clockwork, always parking in the same shaded spot. Angela knew what it meant to me. It was the last piece of him I could touch. His scent still lived in the seats. When she hung up, I sat in that stiff green plastic chair, surrounded by other patients. For the first time in months, I didn't cry. Something unusual stirred in me. A quiet I hadn't felt since Robert's death, because I suddenly remembered something I had forgotten. 3 days before he died, Robert gave me a manila envelope. "Antonia, keep this in your dresser drawer. If anything happens to me, open it later, only when you're ready." I tucked it away and, in the fog of grief, forgot, but it was waiting for me at home. The nurse called me in. The doctor said I was in good health for my age, only needed rest and better meals. I nodded, smiling, but my mind was elsewhere. That envelope, Angela's chill voice, and Edward, who had never liked me and always treated me as a nuisance. I left the clinic and walked to the bus stop. No car now, according to Angela, and as I waited, I smiled again. There was something almost poetic about it. My daughter thought she'd left me with nothing. But Robert, my careful Robert, had always thought ahead. On the bus, I sat by the window and watched the city. Shops, houses, people rushing with their own tragedies and secrets. I had mine too, and I was about to uncover them. At home, I went straight to my room, opened the dresser, and there it was. The manila envelope. Exactly where I'd placed it. My hands trembled as I felt the weight of the documents inside. Antonia, written in Robert's neat hand. I sat on the bed we'd shared for decades, took a breath, and opened it slowly, like a birthday gift. What I found changed everything. Inside were legal documents, property deeds, bank certificates, and a handwritten letter from Robert. My eyes filled as I recognized his familiar script. "My dear Antonia, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Forgive me for keeping things from you. I wanted to protect you from worry. Over the years, I invested our savings in properties and businesses. We don't only own the beach house. We have 6 more properties, including the apartment building where Angela and Edward live. We also hold shares in 3 companies worth more than you imagine. You are rich, my love. You always were, but now it's on paper." My hands shook as I read the deeds. Houses in different neighborhoods, a downtown condo, a small coastal motel, and yes, the 20-story building where Angela lived. Robert had been the quiet owner for a decade, everything held in a company I'd never heard of which I was the sole heir. Bank statements, accounts I never knew existed, numbers that didn't seem real. Robert drove a bus for 40 years, yet he'd been a brilliant investor. Every penny, every sacrifice multiplied in silence. I had known nothing. Robert's letter explained he hid it to keep me from worry, and to prevent Angela from changing her behavior if she knew the truth. "You know our daughter," he wrote. "If she knew, her attitude would change. I want her to love us for who we are, not for what we have." How ironic. She abandoned me believing I had nothing, when in truth, we had everything. That night I couldn't sleep. I roamed the house, touching the old furniture and the trinkets Angela had mocked as outdated. I paused at the photo where she's 5, laughing in Robert's lap. Where had that little girl gone? When did she become so cold? Early the next morning, the phone rang. Angela again, voice softer now, but I'd learned to distrust sudden tenderness. "Mom, we already transferred the money from the house and car. Your share is in you. Your share is in your account. It's not much, but it'll help while you find something smaller." "My share?" I asked evenly. "Yes, Mom. We'd never leave you with nothing. We gave you 30%. Fair, right? We need the rest for our investment in Europe. Edward's got an amazing opportunity." 30% of my own possessions. "I see. And when do you leave?" "This afternoon. 6 months at least, maybe longer." "Travel safely," I said. "Oh, Mom, I knew you'd understand. You're always so compassionate. We love you." She hung up. I stood there, phone in hand, and laughed for the first time since Robert died. The absurdity of it all. My daughter had robbed me, evicted me from my own life, showered me with condescension, just to chase a European fantasy that would likely implode. What hurt most wasn't the money, but the ease with which she erased me with a 2-minute call. I checked my bank. They'd deposited an amount they probably considered generous, but to me it was an insult. They sold the beach house under value, rushed for cash, and the truck for pennies. That afternoon I watched, unseen, as Angela and Edward loaded luggage into a cab, laughing like teenagers. They never looked up at my window. No goodbye. I spread Robert's documents on the kitchen table and weighed my options. Call a lawyer, reverse the sales, reclaim everything. But another path pulled at me, one both better and more educational. I called Mr. Peterson, the attorney who'd handled Robert's affairs. He'd attended the funeral and said to call if I needed anything. "Mrs. Brooks, how are you?" "I'm well, Mr. Peterson. I need to see you urgently. Robert left documents I don't fully understand." "Of course. Tomorrow morning." That night I slept soundly for the first time in months. I dreamed of Robert in his chair, reading the paper. He looked up, smiled, and said, "It's time, my love. Time to stand up for yourself." I woke not happy but determined. I dressed carefully. A wine-colored dress, Robert said, made me look elegant. I did my hair, added a touch of makeup, and met the eyes of a woman I hadn't seen in years. A strong woman. Mr. Peterson's office sat in an old, elegant building. Marble floors, tall windows. He greeted me warmly, but when he saw the documents, his face changed. "Mrs. Brooks, this is far beyond what I imagined." Robert was very shrewd. "These papers show that you—" "I've read them," I said. "I need to know what I can do, legally." Everything was in order, he explained. The documents were legitimate. I was the rightful owner of all those assets. He confirmed what I suspected. The sale of the beach house was illegal. Angela had no right to sell it. "We can recover it immediately, Mrs. Brooks, and we can pursue legal action for fraud." "No lawsuits, for now. I want to handle this another way, quietly. Can you help me?" "Of course." "I want the beach house returned discreetly. Nullify the sale. I need full control of every property, especially the building where my daughter lives. And please, no one can know it's me. It'll take a few weeks, but it's feasible." Perfect. I left feeling as if I'd awakened from a long sleep. The streets were the same, but everything had changed. I had a plan. The following weeks were surreal. Publicly, I was the abandoned widow. Privately, I was a wealthy woman, quietly reclaiming my life. Mr. Peterson called with steady updates. I stayed in my house, mine after all, though Angela probably pictured me in a rented room. Mornings, I ate breakfast at the table Robert and I had shared and walked the neighborhood. Pitying looks met me everywhere. Our neighbor Aurora stopped as I watered plants. "Antonia, dear, is it true Angela went to Europe and left you alone?" "Yes," I said gently. "They have business plans. And how will you manage, sweetie? We all know Robert didn't leave much." If you only knew, I thought. "Don't worry, Aurora. I'll be fine." One Wednesday, Mr. Peterson called. "Good news. We nullified the beach house sale. The buyers were innocent. They got their money back. The house is yours again." "Excellent. And the building?" "More complicated. Technically, you've always owned it through the company. But we need admin changes for direct control. 2 more weeks. Keep me posted." I visited the beach house by bus, the same route Robert and I had taken hundreds of times. The little cream-painted place with the porch watched the ocean like always. New potted plants by the steps, otherwise unchanged. I sat across the street, remembering summers with a little Angela running on the sand, Robert grilling fish while I made salads. Later, Angela brought friends, then Edward. Years of birthdays and holidays, now reduced by her to a transaction. An older gentleman stepped out and saw me. "You all right, ma'am?" "Yes, just remembering." I knew the owners well. "What a shame," he said. "We were told the elderly lady was very ill and needed to sell fast. Turned out the sale wasn't legal. We had to return it." "They handled it through intermediaries?" "Yes. The daughter said the mother couldn't manage. Sad situation." If only you knew, I thought. That evening I called Mr. Peterson. "I want Robert's truck back, too." "That's tougher. It was in your name, but your daughter had a power of attorney you signed after Robert's death." I remembered, dimly, papers Angela said were to help with funeral and inheritance tasks. I'd signed in grief. "Can we undo it?" "Maybe, if we prove deception or coercion." "Do it." My days split in 2. In the mornings, I played the poor widow. Shopping, polite smiles, small talk. Afternoons, I was all business, studying Robert's files, planning next moves. I learned more about finance than I ever expected. The building where Angela lived wasn't just profitable. The neighborhood was booming. I also discovered that Edward was drowning in debt. He'd leveraged the apartment they lived in, unaware he didn't own it. When the banks realized, trouble would follow. Friday, Mr. Peterson called. "Paperwork's done. You have full control of everything. We also got the truck back. The buyer's an acquaintance of mine and returned it for a small compensation." "Excellent. One more thing. Draft a letter to my daughter." "What kind of letter?" "An eviction notice." A beat of silence. "Are you certain?" "Completely. She decided I didn't matter. Now she'll learn how much I do." "Shall I send it to Europe?" "No. Give it to her when she returns. She'll be back soon." I wasn't wrong. That afternoon, Aurora arrived breathless with neighborhood gossip. "Edward's in trouble with the bank. They're looking into loans he took against the apartment, but it isn't his." "Really?" And Angela didn't know. She may have to come back to deal with the mess. Also, word is Edward lied about the European business. There never was one. Perfect. That night, I sat on the porch with tea and looked up at the stars. Robert used to say they were the souls of those who'd lived fully, watching over us. If so, he was up there, pleased. "Thank you, my love," I whispered, "for protecting me even now." Early next day, Mr. Peterson called. "Your daughter just landed alone." "Alone?" "Yes. Rumor is they fought. Edward stayed in Europe." "Did you send the letter?" "Today. She'll receive it tomorrow." Angela arrived at the apartment Tuesday night. Aurora saw her with one suitcase, pale and sleepless. No keys. She needed the superintendent to let her in. That afternoon, Mr. Peterson confirmed. The doorman handed her the notice in person. She has 30 days. At 8 a.m., the phone rang. Angela, desperate. Mom, I need to talk. I received a letter. I have to vacate my apartment in 30 days. It has to be a mistake. Do you know anything? An eviction notice. From whom? A company called, hold on, Robert Investments, Inc. Do you know them? Robert had named the company after himself. Poetic. No, dear, never heard of it. Are you sure it's legitimate? That's what I'm trying to find out. Mom, please help me. Edward left me in Europe with another woman. I don't understand anything. So Edward had run when the money dried up or the legal heat grew. I'm sorry, honey. Where are you now? At the apartment, for now. Mom, can I come see you? I don't have anyone else. The irony. Of course. Come. I prepared my role carefully. A modest gray dress, hair in a simple bun, the expression of a worried yet resigned mother. Angela arrived looking awful, thinner, dark circles, expensive clothes wrinkled. Coffee? I asked. Yes, please. We sat at the same kitchen table where I'd spread Robert's documents weeks earlier. In that chair, she looked small, like a child confessing school troubles. Mom, I'm sorry for how I left, she said. I didn't treat you right. It's in the past. No, I was cruel, and now I have no one. She broke down. What happened with Edward? He ran off with a 25-year-old hotel waitress in Paris. There was never a business. He used the money from your house to escape his debts. All the debts? So many. Loans for years, using the apartment as collateral. And now I find out he didn't even own it. How? Property can be complicated, I said softly. The banks are after me, too. Because I'm his wife, they say I'm responsible. And the eviction. Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't have money. I don't have a job. I don't have a home. For a moment, my mother's heart moved to embrace her fully. But I remembered that clinical phone call from the clinic, how she'd stripped me of dignity in minutes. Did you speak to a lawyer? I can't afford one. We spent everything in Europe. Edward took what was left. What are you going to do? I thought, maybe I could stay with you for a little while, until I find work in a small place. There it was. After tossing me aside, she wanted me to rescue her. Of course, dear. This will always be your home. She blinked, surprised. Really? After everything? You're my daughter. That won't change. She hugged me, this time fully, like someone drowning who finds a lifeline. I held her, not with blind love, but with strategy. That afternoon, she returned to gather belongings. Everything was unfolding exactly as planned. If she lived with me, I could move to the next phase. Let her settle, feel safe, then teach her the difference between being poor by choice and by consequence. That night, I called Mr. Peterson. Investigate Edward's debts thoroughly. I want to know everything, and how to separate Angela from liability. It'll take time, but possible. Absolute discretion, I said. Of course. May I ask your endgame? Simple. I'll save my daughter, but only after she truly understands rock bottom. Angela moved in the next day. 2 suitcases and a box, all that remained. Unpacking in her old room, I saw the humiliation in every motion. From luxury condo to childhood bedroom. Mom, I found this in the apartment, she said later, holding a manila envelope. It was among Edward's things. It has your name on it. Robert's handwriting. Another envelope. Smaller, newer. I opened it. A short letter and a small key. Antonia, if you are reading this after the main envelope, our daughter must be struggling. This key opens a safety deposit box at the central bank, box 247. Inside is something to help you help her. Use it wisely. With love, Robert. A safety deposit box? Angela gasped. Dad had one? I didn't know, I lied. Should we go see? I paused, calculating. All right, tomorrow. That night, we ate together for the first time in months. Her cooking, seasoned with guilt and desperation. She told story after story of Europe, each worse than the last. Edward owes over $100,000, she admitted. He even forged my signature. I gave him documents for our joint account. Never thought he'd use them. The banks say I'm responsible anyway. Can you prove you didn't know? I don't know, it's a mess. And I can't find him, he's vanished. Perfect. Edward had done me a favor. Now Angela felt the same betrayal I'd felt. I'm sorry you're going through this, I said. Next day, at the bank, we opened box 247. Inside, jewelry. Rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings. Some heirlooms I recognized, others new. Another letter listed each piece and its value. Mom, this is a fortune, Angela breathed. Look at this emerald, this pearl necklace. The letter valued them around $200,000. Significant, but only a fraction of the true estate. What should we do? She asked. They're family memories, I said. Mom, we could sell a few. You could get the beach house back. I could pay some of Edward's debts. There it was again, her first instinct. Patch Edward's failures with our legacy. Are you sure you want to use your father's inheritance to pay Edward's bills? What else can I do? If I don't pay, the banks will take everything. And I technically own nothing. We took the pieces home. She spread them on the kitchen table, sorting what to sell versus keep. It hurt to watch decades of family history turned into numbers. Mom, I think I can get $180,000, she said later. Not as much as I hoped, but enough for the most urgent debts. Are you certain? I have no choice. They could even try to touch this house if they tie me to any property. That night, Mr. Peterson called. Mrs. Brooks, I have Edward's debt profile. Worse than expected. Over $200,000 with banks and private lenders. He used falsified documents with Angela's signature. This could bind her legally. If we prove fraud, we can clear her, but it'll be long and expensive. Around $50,000 for a top specialist, with no guarantees. Prepare everything to free her, I said. You're paying? I'll do whatever it takes, I replied. But do not tell her. When I returned, Angela was staring at the jewelry, eyes wet. Dad would be so disappointed, she said. I had a family who loved me, and I threw it away for a liar. I'm ruining your life, too. People make mistakes, I said. The important part is what we do after. In the days that followed, Angela sold most of the jewelry, keeping Robert's engagement ring and her grandmother's small necklace. She learned to compare offers, negotiate, and accept loss. Painful, but necessary. $180,000, she reported, counting cash. I'll prioritize debts with collateral so they can't seize property. The woman who sold my things without asking now weighed every decision carefully. Suffering had given her responsibility. And fragility. 2 weeks later, Mr. Peterson phoned again. We found Edward in Paris. He's attempting a sham marriage for residency. More importantly, we have evidence he deliberately forged Angela's documents and fled. With this, we can legally free her from the debts. Start immediately, I said. Don't tell her yet. Lying was becoming easier. Each day, my double life felt more natural. Poor abandoned mother on one side, quiet architect of my daughter's salvation on the other. Meanwhile, Angela interviewed for jobs. 2 places refused due to pending legal issues. A third offered a night shift cleaning offices. Are you going to take it? I have to, she said. It's little, but it's something. Nights leave me time to search days. Seeing her pull on a uniform after decades of comfort broke my heart and filled me with pride. Are you sure? I can't keep being a burden, Mom. You're letting me stay here for free. One night while she was working, Aurora visited. Did you know she'd come back like this? She asked. She left boasting of Europe and Edward's success. Now she's humble, changed. Life teaches, I said. She must learn to respect you, not just need you. Aurora added. And she was right. That was the point of my plan. Not desperation, but respect. Angela returned late, tired but with new dignity. Hard, but not as bad as I imagined. Mrs. Johnson taught me cleaning tricks. Her husband left her with 3 kids. She built an honest life. Wise woman, I said. She told me there are 2 kinds who end up in this job. Those without chances, and those who wasted theirs. She asked which I am. I told her the truth. The next morning, Mr. Peterson called with excellent news. The legal process is almost complete. We can clear your daughter. It's time, I said. Organize a meeting. She needs to know everything. I told Angela we'd see a lawyer who might help. She worried about fees. Just come, I said. At Mr. Peterson's office, she sat wringing her hands. He smiled professionally. Miss Brooks, please review these documents. As she read, confusion turned to shock. It says Edward forged my signature. There's evidence of fraud. I'm not responsible? That's right, he said. We've been investigating for weeks. Who paid for this? She asked. I can't afford it. Mr. Peterson looked at me. Angela, I said, your father left me more than you knew. Show her the rest, I told Mr. Peterson. He handed her the property deeds, bank statements, investment certificates, the entire fortune Robert had built. She read in silence, cycling through disbelief to realization. Mom, this says you own the building where I lived. Yes. And other properties, accounts, investments. Yes. So when I sold the beach house, I sold your house. The sale was fraudulent. I already recovered it. She stared at me. How long have you known? Since the day you called me from the doctor's office. You knew when I came back from Europe, when I cried every night? Yes. Why? Her voice trembled. Why let me suffer when you could have helped? Because you needed a lesson you couldn't learn any other way, I said gently. You needed to relearn the value of family, respect, and responsibility. When you abandoned me, it wasn't just money. It was dignity, love, trust. She cried, this time with understanding. I treated you like garbage, she whispered. And I saved you, I said. Not with easy money, but by letting you reach bottom so you could stand up yourself. Your mother covered all legal costs, Mr. Peterson added. You're free of Edward's debts. The fraudulent sales were reversed. And my job? She asked me. You can quit, I said, but I hope you don't. It's teaching you the dignity of honest work and the worth of each dollar. Do you forgive me? I forgave you long ago. The real question, can you forgive yourself? I don't know, she said. We left with a new relationship, no longer a mother and daughter bound by habit, but 2 women choosing each other after a brutal test. Angela kept the night job for a while. I can't return to comfort as if nothing happened, she said. This isn't punishment. It's how I remember who I want to be. Aurora later confessed she'd thought me cruel. Now she called me wise. Look at your daughter, she said. Really look. And she was right. Angela had a quiet confidence rooted in her own effort. That evening, Angela told me Mrs. Johnson had asked if she was the daughter of the rich lady uptown. I said yes, Angela admitted. Then she asked why I still work. I told her I have to prove to myself I can stand on my own. Mrs. Johnson laughed. That's the difference between being rich and acting rich. Your mom taught you how to be truly rich. Mom, Angela said later, I want to stay here, not as a dependent daughter, but as a grown woman sharing life with her mother. I'll pay my share, contribute to the house, and treat this as a partnership. You don't have to. I do, she said. I need our relationship to be different, respected. She wanted to study social work, step by step, earning each opportunity, help other women facing abandonment and financial abuse. As for Edward, he was arrested in France for the sham marriage, likely to be deported. I feel nothing, she said. No anger, no sadness. That chapter is over. 6 months later, balance returned. Angela finished her studies with excellent grades. I funded a foundation to support women escaping domestic violence and financial betrayal. Mom, the university wrote, she said one morning. I'm accepted to the master's program. I'll pay for it myself. I've saved from my city job. We can afford it, I reminded her. I know, but I need to do this on my own. That night, we ate on the porch, our new tradition. Angela showed me a letter from Edward, apologies from prison. She felt nothing and chose not to reply. That Angela no longer exists, she said calmly. True love, she told me, isn't what flatters you. It teaches what you need, even when it hurts. Edward told me what I wanted to hear. You taught me what matters. Work, respect, real relationships. The next Sunday, we finally returned to the beach house together. Angela walked through each room, touching furniture, trailing her fingers over the photos. When I sold it, I felt nothing, she admitted. Now I can feel Dad in every corner. He's here, I said. He always has been. We spent the day cooking, cleaning small details, a ritual of reconnection with place and values. At sunset, on the porch Robert built, Angela turned to me. Mom, let's turn this house into a temporary shelter for women leaving abuse. A place to rebuild. Robert would have loved that. The best sanctuaries are the ones we share, I said. We'll use the foundation's resources. You can oversee the program at work. He always said a house becomes a home when it opens its doors. We drove back with a new project, and a bond remade by respect and choice. That night, under the stars, I spoke to Robert in silence. We did it, my love. Our daughter understands now. And for the first time since his passing, I felt him answer. I always knew you would. You're both stronger than you think. Justice had come, not as revenge but as education, not as punishment but as transformation. What we gained was worth more than money. A true relationship, mother and daughter, built on a foundation no future crisis can shake. Did you enjoy my life story? Which city are you listening from? Tell me in the comments. If this true-to-life tale moved you, a super thanks helps me bring more stories like it. Thank you for your kind support. I'm excited to read your thoughts. On screen, you'll find 2 more powerful family stories I highly recommend. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story, with love and respect.